So apparently the block has a ghost. So a ghost singer by the name of Natasha Ramos came out and she's exposing some things about the song Jenny from the Block for Jennifer Lopez. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about two things. One being there is something that could make Jennifer Lopez a terrible person or it may not. Okay, that's number one. And then number two, there is something that makes me lose a lot of respect for J-Lo. But before I tell you what those things are, I have to explain the story so you understand what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. So first things first, I want to say that I've always been a J-Lo fan. I'm talking, I love her song On the Floor. I love this song called Play. I just love that song. Waiting for Tonight. And then also J-Lo and Shakira's Super Bowl halftime show was one of the best halftime shows I've ever seen. And I was so excited to see that halftime show that is the only halftime show that I watched live, because usually I'll just replay it on YouTube after the whole show is over and I'll watch, the replay of it on YouTube. So I'm going to say that halftime show that they did was number 2 or number 1. Madonna's probably number 1 for me. It could be J-Lo and Shakira. They're like neck and neck. And I'm from the camp where I was like, they should have given J-Lo that entire halftime show for herself. I didn't want to see her with someone else. I would love to see Shakira by herself and J-Lo by herself. She deserved that because she's an incredible performer. Okay, so I want to get that out of the way. The reason for that is because I did another video and I talked about how I lost some respect for her based on the way that she was treating servers and different people like service workers. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Okay, so let's go. Natasha Ramos. I'm going to call her Ghost, okay? So Ghost comes out and she does some TikTok videos talking about how she is the singer of Jenny from the Block. And she also did some backup vocals, I think on 3 or 4 other tracks for Jennifer Lopez. And she said explicitly that J-Lo did not steal the song from her. Okay, so she did a reference track and the song was for J-Lo, obviously because it's saying Jenny from the Block. It's for Jennifer Lopez. And so she had a terrible manager. And this manager knew the producer who owned the production company that Natasha was signed to. That's how she got on the production company, if I'm correct. And so they did the song, the reference track. They pitched it to Jennifer Lopez and her people, and they loved the track. And so they wanted Jennifer Lopez to get on it. Okay. So J-Lo goes in the studio and she records some vocals. And after Natasha heard it, once it was on the radio and everything, this is later, Natasha realized that her voice, like it sounded just like the reference track. It wasn't very different. So basically, allegedly, and this is what it sounds like to me, especially after hearing Natasha sing, because she actually sings on her TikTok video. And you can tell it's her. It sounds exactly like her. But basically what they did is they kept Natasha's voices here and put J-Lo's voice down here. And I remember when Jennifer Lopez came out, I've been singing all my life, okay? But I know as a singer that Jennifer Lopez is not a natural singer. And at that point in her career, she wasn't able to really sing lead vocals without the help of probably auto-tune and a team, okay? But I love her performances. She's an incredible performer, okay? So anyway, so that happened. And so when it came time to negotiate everything, Natasha said that she wasn't in the room at all for any type of negotiations. And they had her come in and do the track and everything. And so her manager, Natasha's manager, went in when it was time to negotiate the money from her finishing up the vocals on these tracks. And she had done 4 tracks. And so the manager comes out and says, I got you $3,500, right? And so Natasha's like, $3,500? And she's like, well, I want to renegotiate. And so basically, I believe she fired him. She said he got fired, so she fired him that night. And she was like, I wanted to renegotiate. She said, I didn't even sign anything. She said, don't you have to have a power of an attorney if someone else signs something for you? And she said, I wonder if J-Lo knows how little I got paid for singing 4 songs. She said, I hear this on the Super Bowl. She said it makes her like basically feel a lot of anxiety when she hears J-Lo at her residency in Las Vegas, using those backup vocals at her residency, using them on the Super Bowl and in, different places. She hears herself. Imagine that. You hear your voice and you got paid $3,500. Now, here's my thing about J-Lo. So this is number 1, okay? I got through all that so I could get you here. Number 1, J-Lo might be a terrible person because, well, let me start with this. If this woman, Natasha, had a terrible manager, right? And there are a lot of terrible managers in the music industry. Y'all might not know this, but I studied communication at USC, University of Southern California, and I did a dual major in music industry and music recording. So I know a lot more than I may look like I do about the music industry. So what could have happened, and this is me standing up for J-Lo a little bit here. What could have happened is, since this manager, his friend was the producer of Natasha, like Natasha's producer, and she was signed to his production company. What could have happened is that producer could have signed her, and she was so young and didn't really understand contracts, and basically made her like an employee of his. So she is to do whatever she does, she'll get paid a fee like you do if you're an employee of Apple or just some company. So you get paid a fee, you don't own any copyrights. And, you know, here's the thing, singers don't own copyrights anyway, because if you're not the writer, if you're not the lyricist, or you don't own any stake in the publishing, you're not the producer or you're not the lyricist, you're not really going to get anything outside of some type of direct payment, okay? But what could have happened, J-Lo could have known that she didn't get paid a lot in that moment and didn't care. Or what could have happened is that manager could have went in there with some of J-Lo's people and said, hey, you know, pay me $10,000 and I'll just give her a little bit of it. Or maybe they paid the manager like $13,000 and he gave Natasha $3,000 and took the rest and ran off with it. I could see that happening. They could have paid him much more, and maybe he took and gave her $3,000 and he kept $200,000. God only knows what could have happened. Or maybe they gave him, let's say, $250,000 because of what she did, right? I'm just throwing a figure out there. And he gave his friend, which is her boss, the producer, $150,000 of it, or $125 of it. He kept $125, whatever it was, and gave her a few scraps, you know, to send her on her way. But here's my issue with, so that's number one, and I'm going to stick to number one for a second to talk about J-Lo. Here's my issue with that. Even if J-Lo didn't know in that moment that this woman got paid so little, right? I would imagine that by now, especially she's made millions and millions and millions off of that song. By now, you have to know that she didn't make any money off of this, right? She's on TikTok now talking about it. I can't imagine, I'm not a dancer, okay? But imagine me having a singing career and I don't know how to dance, and they have some type of way to get someone else to dance for me and make the public think that I'm the one dancing, even though I'm not. And then I see that person who did all that work for me and caused my career to skyrocket and me to become this, you know, household name. I see them working as a server, because this woman is a server now. She has kids and she's a server. And I forgot to mention this. The reason she's upset is because of this. You know, if you're a backup singer and they pay you a flat rate to do some backup singing, that's fine. But she was not just a backup singer. I am going to assert, this is all alleged from what she's saying, but based on what she's saying, I'm going to assert that they duped her into becoming J-Lo's ghost singer. Because there's a difference between singing something like, don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. That's the chorus of the song, right? Excuse my singing, because I ain't singing in a long time, okay? Been years. That's the chorus of the song. That's what a background singer sings, okay? But they kept her ad libs. They kept Natasha's ad libs. There was like a laugh that she did. They kept that. And I think there was a part where she said Jenny from the block or something like that. They kept that. So these are lead vocal tracks that they were keeping. They basically kept the reference track the same and pushed Jennifer Lopez's vocals all the way underneath Natasha's vocals. Natasha handled the entire song. So basically they tricked her into singing Jennifer Lopez's song, allegedly, according to Natasha. And so she's getting compensated as if she's a backup singer when that's not the case at all. So my thing is, maybe J-Lo didn't know how much she got compensated. There could have been some shade going on with the managers and her management team. But by now, J-Lo knows that she has to know that this woman didn't get compensated enough, obviously, because she's serving tables. I can't in my right mind know that someone did that type of magic for my career and not make sure that they are paid in some type of way, just to give them a percentage of something, just because they were so instrumental in my success. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is the biggest one, and I'm gonna get out of here. Number two is this. Natasha said that when she met Jennifer Lopez was really bubbly. She wasn't mean to her or anything like that. She was really nice, and they had a great time in the studio. From what she said, she was like that girl from the Bronx, from the block, in the studio. And my thing is this. A lot of people, if you watch my last video, a lot of people have come out and said that Jennifer Lopez is really awful to service workers. I'm talking people in restaurants. She treats them like trash, allegedly. People on airplanes who are serving her, she doesn't look at them. She tells her managers, tell him I want some Coke or whatever it is. Or tell him I want to, whatever it is that she wants. She doesn't speak directly to the person that she is engaging with or the person who's trying to engage with her. My thing is this. So if all of that is true, which I personally believe these stories, most of them that people are saying about her behavior is true. If you know how to be nice to Natasha when she's in the studio because it's something you need from her, and you realize how powerful she is because her voice is similar to yours, right? And you know your record company has sought her out because she has a similar voice to yours, but she's the version of you that has spent years singing and honing in on her craft and becoming an incredible singer. She really has a beautiful voice. Natasha has a beautiful voice. You don't have to do the work. So you know how to be nice to her when there's something that you need from her, but you don't like who she intrinsically is, because if she were serving you right now in a restaurant or at that time, because she's a server right now, you would treat her like trash. You would treat her like trash. I have two friends, and I forgot to mention this in my last video, who work for United, and they are flight attendants. My mindset is like this. If my friends, who I've known one of them for 14 years, if they were to encounter, she works first class a lot. She works in first class. She flies everywhere. If she were to encounter J-Lo at any point in her career, J-Lo probably would have treated my friend like trash. If I were to have met J-Lo when I was a server years ago, J-Lo might have treated me like trash. If Natasha were to have seen J-Lo before J-Lo knew that she was going to be her ghost, J-Lo probably would have treated her like trash. Well, this was at the beginning of her career, so I don't know how she was, but a lot of people said she was like that on Living Color too. All alleged, I don't know. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because, you know, when so many people come out, what do they say? Where there's smoke, there's fire. When so many people are coming out and saying that this person treats service workers like trash. Tommy Davidson came out and said something about her and said she was, you know, really dismissive to him, and just really, a lot of people have talked about her behavior. Another content creator, I remember this happened about a year ago. There was like a Latin event. It was like Latino TikTok creators that TikTok had, and Jennifer Lopez, Cardi B, and one other person was there. And this really popular Latina creator came out and said that her experience with Jennifer Lopez was terrible. Jennifer Lopez was like very dismissive, kind of rude to her, all alleged. But she had video footage, and I saw Jennifer Lopez's face when she took a picture with her, and Jennifer Lopez didn't seem very friendly at all. But Cardi B was over the top saying, hey, being nice to everyone. You would think Cardi B would be the mean one, because she's the type that'll probably, you know, pull a razor blade from under her tongue and cut a bitch. You know what I'm saying? But Cardi B was totally down to earth and cool. J-Lo seemed her energy. I'm looking at her eyes and the way that she was in that photo. I didn't like what I felt. So that's my thing. So, you know, you let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think about J-Lo, her behavior? My biggest thing for J-Lo is the way that she treats service workers, and the fact that this woman, oh my God, is still a service worker right now when she's done so much that has been monumental for J-Lo's career. Singing her song, doing the lead vocals on this song in a time when J-Lo she was not on the level as a singer to pull that off. She just was not. I've been singing all my life. I'm listening to her. I've heard her live. You know, anybody can sing something on key. You can teach them how to sing something on key. Most people, okay? So she had she was a beginning singer. She was not intermediate or advanced at all. And I would say right now she's intermediate. She's still not advanced, okay? But you have an advanced singer who spent all that time and did that work for you. There's no way I could be that rich and have $400 million and know that this woman is serving tables. I'm the type of guy that'd be like, you know what? I'd have called her up and be like, hey, I got something for you. I want to buy you a house. I'm like, here's a house. Here's, you know, I don't know. Even if it's $1 million and a house. You got kids, you did so much, and that song has blown up. And guess what? I'm also going to give you a little piece of the royalties. 2% of the publishing that I get off of the song, I'm going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? That to me would make me respect J-Lo so much more. So this is a really interesting time for Jennifer Lopez, because she's had some poor ticket sales for her concerts. And, you know, a lot of people are coming out and talking about her. And normally I don't try to engage in too much of this, but this caught my eye because especially the last story I did, like I said, you may want to check that out, because of the way that she treats people that really help her fans, people who meet her on the streets. She treats them like trash, allegedly. And this story lets me know she knows how to be nice to people when she needs them. If what Natasha is saying is true, and I believe her, it made me lose a lot of respect for J-Lo. What do you think? Let me know in the comments.